Today, we will start from where we left in the previous video and learn about some advanced scenarios for filter function available in Excel of Office 365. This is the second part of the video series on filter function. In this video, we will explore how filter function can be used on a table, how to return any number of top or bottom rows, how to return non-contiguous columns, and finally, how can we return a sorted list of unique values. If you are interested in learning about how to handle advanced filter scenarios, then you must watch this video till the end. Without any more ado, let's start the video. Hi guys, welcome back to Tech Reflections. I am Vikram and this video is for advanced filter scenarios. This is the second video of the video series on filter function and will be about advanced scenarios. But if you are not well versed with the basics of filter function, then I recommend you check out the video on the basics of filter function. You can find the link for the same in the I button at the top right of the screen and also in the description of this video. Let's start the first scenario for this video. First scenario we will be looking today is we need to know the students playing a particular sport but we want to have this scenario using a table. As you can see, this scenario is simple. We have done this kind of scenario in our previous video on the basics of filter. But this time, a little difference is that we want to do it using table. So what do you mean by using table is that the data set that we have right now is just a raw data set, but this time we want to make this as table. So to convert this data set into a table, you must all be aware that there is a shortcut that is Control T. So you can select any cell within this range and press Control T. So it will open a dialog box which gives you the range, which is the selected range, which is having all the details about this table, that is from B2 to F17, which is correct. And then my table has header. There is a option for my table has header. In our case, yes, we have a header. So we can just keep it checked and click on OK. So the moment you do it, you can see apparently also this data set has changed into a table. And what difference does it going to make to us by converting this into a table? Let's see now via this formula. So here, what we want to return is that we want to see the name, residence, and section of all the students who are playing a particular sport like cricket. So in this case, we'll use the filter formula like the one we have used in our previous video also. The first is array from where we want to return this values. So we want name, residence, and section. So we'll select only this part of our table. So you can see the way it is referencing this table is different from the way it was referencing the range. So to avoid any typos, I suggest that you the better approach is to select within this range rather than typing this on your own. So next would be include arguments. In the include argument, we want that the sport should be cricket. So sport is there in our column E. So we select this as our column and then give the value that it should be equal to whatever is there in I3. And then the last argument is if empty. So in case of if there is no record which is matching our criteria, then it should display no records. And then we close the parenthesis and press enter. So you can clearly see that now we have all the records, all the students who play cricket, and their name, residence, and section is displayed here. We can change it. Let's say we want hockey. We can have soccer. Okay. So now there are only two people who play soccer, two students, sorry. Now, what is the benefit of having this table is, let's say if I have one more record which is satisfying this criteria and that is added later. So how that is going to impact our filtered data. So earlier in our previous video, we have seen that if there is any change within the data which is already there in our table or in our data set, that the change would be reflected here. But what about if there is a new row got added? Let's see if that's the case. Let's say we have another person, another student, Robert, and let's say he lives in maybe reading, and he is from section, say, A. And now the sport. Now in our case, we want that person playing soccer. So let me add soccer. The moment you add it, you can see this record gets added to our result set also. And in fact, I have not even completed adding this record. I have not added the marks, but it's still showing me the record here. I can just add marks also. So any change or any addition that you do within your, or even deletion that you do in our table will be reflected in your data set, result set, sorry. So this is the benefit of having a table. So your result set is anyway dynamic, but if your table, if you're using table, then any addition or deletion in the table also will be reflected in your data set. So that takes us to the second scenario that we are using for today. So what we want here is that we want to see the top 3 students scoring highest marks. Okay, so in this case, there is an additional formula that we will be using, that is additional function, that is large. So this large function, what this large function is doing, you can read from the this tooltip, that it returns the kth largest value in a data set. For example, the 5th largest. So what we want is, we want top 3. So to understand this, if we want, if we get the 3rd largest, and if we use a condition that any record having a value greater than the 3rd largest, so it will give us the top 3 values. So let's see how it will be used within the filter function. So let me delete it from here, and let us use the filter formula as we were doing earlier. Now what we want to return, we want to return name, residence, section, sports, and marks. So all the fields we want. So we have to select whole of this table. So let's see, now we have selected it, but what you see in your reference is just table 1, because this is the whole table 1 we have selected. Then what are we going to have in our include part? So the include part is on which criteria we want to filter our this table. So we want the marks to be filtered on marks. So we'll use this as the column. And now we want the top 3. So we will say that it should be greater than or equal to. Then we use the formula large, as we were discussing earlier. So sorry, large. And the large, it asks for an array. Array again would be the column marks, because we want the 3rd largest value within this column. So we use this. And then we want 3rd largest, so we use value 3 here. Then we close this parenthesis for a large function, and then we come out of it. Next is if empty, so we use no records, as we are using in all our examples. And then we close the parenthesis for filter also. Let me press enter and see what value it returns. So you can see it shows me 3 records, and these 3 are the top 3 as per the marks are concerned. So you can see these students have scored 88, 90, and 91. Same can be done for lowest 3 also. Let's say if you want to return lowest 3 students who have got the lowest marks. So for that, the function that we will be using is, in place of large, there is another function we will be using, that is small. So again, if you can see, the small is also having the same kind of parameters. So here it will give us the small, that the smallest value, the smallest kth value of any array. So how are we going to use this is, let me use this here. Let me change this. Okay, here we use the small function. This would be again the filter function here. Then the filter, we want all these fields. So let me add the full table here and in, include, um, as we want to get the last bottom three records. So the field would be marks on which we want to decide which records would be shown here in our filter. So that should be, earlier we used for large, the top three we used greater than equal to the large, and here we would be using the less than equal to small, and then we use the same array. So we want the smallest value of this array, a third smallest value, sorry. So for the third smallest, we would use the k as 3, and we close the parenthesis for small function. Then we press a comma, and then the last argument for the filter is again no records. And then we close the parenthesis, we'll press enter. And see, now we have, these are the bottom three records. So the students at the bottom three are who got the marks as 55, 53, and 54. Coming up in this video is returning non-contiguous columns and how to get a sorted list of unique values. If you are finding this video useful, then like this video and share it with your friends. Also subscribe to the channel and press the bell icon so that you get notified when the next video will be published. Let's move to the third scenario now. So the third scenario here would be, what we want to get here is that specific details of all students residing in selected city. So, but the value that the information that we want is only name, section, and marks, and not whole of the data set. So, how will we start? First, we'll start with the simple filter function that we have been doing till now. So, this filter. Now, name, section, and marks are like not the contiguous columns that we want. So there are few columns in between. So as of now, we need to cover whole of this data set because we need the first column and then we need the last column also. So as of now, I'll just select whole of this data set, and then what is in the include. So I want to include only those where the residence is London. So residence is in column C. So I select this column as from where we want to search this value London, and it should be equal to whatever is there in O3. And then the last one would be again no records. I press enter. So this is the usual filter function, but this filter function is currently returning all the values which we don't even want. So let's say we want just section, name, section, marks, but it is also giving us residence and the sports they play. So now how to get only those columns which we want? So for that, we'll again go back to the formula that we used and use another filter formula over the filter formula that we have used. And then this time the array for that filter would be the values that are returned by this filter function. And then next would be include. Now here we need to understand how this filter include function works. So whatever value is there, this filter function takes up only the true values and return and don't take up the false values. So how to get these column numbers that we want from this is that we use there is a function called match. We have used that in our earlier videos also. So if you want to know how match function works, you can go and check out the video on index match. There are two parts of it, index match 1 and 2. So the link for those videos would be there in the description of this video. So let's start with that first. But the match function, what are we going to do from the match function is that we want to search the values that we want is only name, section, and marks out of the whole set where we have name, residence, section, sports, and marks. So we want a true for all the columns which are required in our data, final data set, final record set, sorry, result set, and false for those columns which are not required. So what we can do here is we can use the match function. If you use the match function here and search this part, this B2 to F2, then and search that in this this row, that is N5 to N4 to P4, then it will return wherever it finds a match, it will return a true or the number of that row, because match function returns a number. And wherever it will not find that value, it will return the NA. That's the error. So, but in our filter formula, we want only true and false to be in the include part. So, how can we convert those numbers and NAs into true and false? So there is another function that we will be using here, or we'll be introducing here, is number. So anything within the is number would be evaluated. If that particular value is a number, then it will return a true. And if that value is not a number, then it will return false. So let's see how that can be done. So this is the for the filter function. Sorry. Let me remove this. Okay, so in this filter function, the first part array is whatever is returned with our initial filter formula. And in this include part, now we will do is, first of all, we use is number as we discussed, which will convert all the numbers into true and non-numbers into false. And within this, we will use a match function. And what will match function do? Match function will take up this row, which is the header of our initial data set, and search it within the return column headers that we want. So that is name, section, and marks. So here match function will be telling us that which all columns are required, and that would be returned with a number, the number of that column, and rest would be returned as NA, which is number will convert into the NAs would be converted into false, and the row number that column numbers would be converted into true. So that let me okay, that match function again has a next argument, that is the last argument. For the exact match, we will use 0. So for match function, as I told you, you can watch that video on index and match, and then we close the parentheses for this. So this match function is closed. Now another parenthesis will be closed for is number, and then the final filter function will close it here. Filter function also has that final argument of if empty, but that is not required in this case, and that is anyway optional. So we'll close the parenthesis for that also. So this way, now our function is ready. Let's see if it returns the required columns or not. We press enter and see this works. So now we have name, section, and marks part only from the whole of the data set that we have. And it works like right now it is showing it for London. Let's say change it for reading. So we have got the same information for the students residing in reading. So this is the third scenario. Now we come to the fourth scenario. What we are trying to do here in the fourth scenario is that we want a sorted and unique list of sports played by selected section students. Okay, so let's first start with our usual filter function. Here we will be introducing two new functions. But let's first do the filter part. So we will filter, and we want this time sorted and unique list of sports. So we want only sports. So in that case, we will just use this column as our return column and include, we want only those students who are in section A. So we'll use this column and we'll should have a value whatever is selected in O14. And then the last one is no records. And then we close it. Okay, so now you can see we have got a list of all these sports that that the students of section A are playing. But if you can see, this is not the unique list. As you can see that hockey is repeated here. We have hockey here and we have hockey here again. But we want this list to be unique. So how are we going to do that? So for that, we will again go back to our formula. And there is another formula that is unique, that is used, and this unique formula will return all the unique values. So it asks for an array as the mandatory argument. So array is anyway returned by our filter function. Rest both these arguments, by call and exactly once, are optional, so we'll not require them. So as of now, so we'll just close and press enter. So see, now our list is again unique. So all the rows that were duplicate are removed. So now we have hockey just once. We have hockey, cricket, tennis, and soccer. So this list is unique, but this list is still not sorted. So if this would have been sorted, then cricket should have been the first option, and then tennis should have been the last option. So how can we do that? So for that, we will use another function, that is sort function. So for that, let's first go to the first cell where the formula resides, and we'll use sort function. So when we start the sort function, it gives us a tooltip that first it expects an array, and that array is returned by the combination of unique and filter in our formula. And then rest three arguments are optional. So as of now, we don't need them. So we'll just close the this parenthesis and press enter and see if that helps us. Yes. So if you can see, these records are now sorted. Now we have cricket at the top and tennis at the bottom records. So now we have seen that that the combination of sort and unique makes our list sorted and unique on the basis of the formula, or on the basis of the criteria that we have passed. So first of all, we just filtered our data set on the basis of the condition that we want, and then we use the formula unique and sort to get a sorted and unique list. As you can see that with the combination of these useful functions, you can handle very complicated scenarios in Excel also. Let me know which scenario you feel was the most useful in the data management by dropping a comment in the comment box. You can share your scenarios also where you have used filter function. I'm looking forward to your comments. Guys, you are watching the videos but not posting the comments. So I urge you to post the comments with whatever you like or dislike about this video or for any video. And if there is anything that you want me to add or change in my videos, any constructive feedback is most welcome. If you want to learn Google Sheets along with Excel, then I suggest you watch the video series on the same on this channel. Soon a new video is coming up in that series. Link for the series would be there on your screen now. Thanks everyone. I'll see you all in the next video, and till then, stay safe and stay healthy. Goodbye.